Say a few words, we might want to move this way so we can hear. It's like,
I tried. Great. Thanks for doing it.
It was great.
And you were like, ah!
Yeah, I was totally surprised.
So cool.
Why are you on?
When the things happen, the rest of the scene. As much as possible. With my favorite photographer. Matter of fact, my only photographer. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and show his picture up there too, David.
Hey, David.
Up there, right here.
Can we gather in closer so I don't have to yell quite I want to say a couple of words. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming out and supporting public art, specifically street art. But I also want to share a little bit about the larger story of what exactly this project is, specifically this Baltimore effort that was put together, and kind of what I see as the impact of what we've done, as well as say thanks to some significant people who helped make it all happen. So this is actually part of a larger global participatory art project. If you look at each poster, it says a global participatory art project by JR. And this really starts years ago for him, but for me it started in March of 2011 and I was sitting at my dining room table waiting for Ted to announce who the 2011 TED Prize winner was. And because I can't afford to be in Long Beach, I was watching it online, which I think a lot of people have done at this point with regards to watching TED Talks or ideas we're spreading. And I was excited when they announced that the 2011 winner was a street artist from France who utilized photography to tell stories. And they proceeded to show the work of JR, who has done significant work across the globe. Some of the stuff that really spoke to me is portraits that he took in the West Bank in Israel. And he would take portraits of individuals on both sides of the wall, which are traditionally enemies. And he would post them side by side, and he would ask people, which is which? And he found that people oftentimes could not tell who was the Israeli or who was the Palestinian. And what, to me, that work of art said is we all have stories that can connect us. There's things beyond how we look or where we live that will unite us. And after his TED Talk, he commissioned individuals who were listed to participate in this large project. What he asked people to do was to take portraits, upload them to his website, or this new website he developed specifically for the project, and he would enlarge them and send them back to you, and he wanted you to post them in public places. And just to validate, I was super excited. I actually uploaded my own portrait that night.
Before the haircut.
Exactly. And I unfortunately didn't make it onto the wall. That's all right. But along with asking individuals to upload their portraits, he asked for people to take on and coordinate group efforts and create this chorus of stories being told collectively. And being ambitious, and I have nothing better to do, obviously, I volunteered to organize a Baltimore effort. And out of that, I knew I needed somebody to take photos because it's not my skill set per se. I knew I needed someone who could help me think through some of the public art and putting art in public places implications. And there was a process of me having people I knew, and the website and TED Talks generating its own excitement, and people coming to me in Baltimore saying, we want to be a part of this. And as a result of that, a team was put together of two photographers, Bonnie Shupp and Kristen Stitt, who are both here, and a public art expert in Deborah Patterson, who runs art blocks in Baltimore, specifically working in the Druid Hill neighborhood. And the four of us over the course of last summer started thinking about what would be the commentary that we wanted to tell. What was the collective story, or what did we want to look at in Baltimore City? And we started to think about diversity, about race, about color. And we came up with this concept that would allow us to bring something from the inside to the out, much like the project suggests, and focusing on, again, this idea of diversity, or in our mind, race and color. And we realized that color is an intimate question. It's something that's very simple and people are willing to answer, yet at the same time it tells us something about an individual, something that we can't tell just by looking at them. And so we decided that we could take portraits of individuals and ask them what their favorite color was. And once we had collected these portraits and we knew their favorite colors, we could then group them based on their favorite color and let that be the identifying factor. So if you look at the installation behind you, you'll see a swatch of color in the bottom right corner, which is this individual's favorite color. And then on each of the pilasters, we did our best to place people who like the same color. So when you look at this, you actually see a spectrum of Baltimore that all likes Baltimore, or all likes the color blue. And thus highlighting something on the inside that can connect us when something necessarily on the outside looking at them might not. But to make this happen, we still need to have a location. This is where some of our really relying on other people. And we found a sympathetic partner, Chris Janey. He happens to work for a very large industry. say, Chris had empathy with me and these concepts of utilizing art to tell stories, and was willing to work with this unnamed significant property owner to bring this work of art to this prominent location. Along with that, we also needed resources. This doesn't necessarily happen for free, as much as we wish that were true. And I had the opportunity early in this year to sit down with Amy Kavanaugh Royce of Maryland Art Place. And as the new executive director, she's taken it upon herself to really try to connect Maryland artists and local artists to the international scene. Well, this project is contrived by a global artist, and it's being done by local artists. So it was an ideal fit. And Amy was willing to help us, and we're very grateful for that support. She's actually here tonight. Probably shortly after that, I had the opportunity to meet regularly with Gary Vican, the director of the Walters, who, yes, he has an appreciation for art, but maybe not necessarily street art. But he's very open-minded and willing to explore new ideas and innovation in the city of Baltimore, and that's where a lot of our conversations have taken us. And so he too was a willing supporter. And the last piece financially was a public affairs firm called Kearney O'Doherty. They oftentimes will help businesses in the city of Baltimore with their relationships with the municipality itself, so with politicians. And I happen to have conversations on a regular basis with Damien O'Doherty, and we oftentimes talk about the significance that art, culture, and the vibrancy that creates, and how important that is to both our politicians and our businesses. We need to create places that people want to live in. And out of that idea, Damien and his partner, Steve Kearney, decided to support this project as well. And so as you can see, it's been this entire team, whether it's the artists and photographers and Bonnie and Kristen, Deborah and myself helping to think through and orchestrate this, or the three people who helped install this, Gaia, who's the well-known street artist here in Baltimore, Michael Auer was an intern with the Baltimore Love Project, and just a good friend, Robert Ray, who helped put this up. There was this team of people that allow us to tell this, both the individual story and this collective story of Baltimore. And the last thing I want to kind of think about is, what's the impact of this? Why does this matter? And certainly there's the art itself, and I really, as much as I've told you is probably too much, I would like it to speak for itself, but I encourage you to visit our website and through that check out JR and really experience how big this project is. It's not just this wall and just these portraits. It is global. There's been thousands of people who have uploaded their portraits and pasted them in public places. Think about what that means. What does that do for someone personally, and what does it do for the people who are experiencing that? And the other thing, because I'm oftentimes on the side of coordinating art, not necessarily making it, I've learned that the process of making the art is oftentimes a part of the art, and that's certainly true here. One of the things that I've been asked to do is share some of my big ideas, and one of them I've been thinking about a lot lately has been interdependence. This idea of finding common value and working together to achieve that. And I think this project highlights that, but I want to read a paragraph that I shared with someone at Open Society Institute that's now invited me to expand on the idea. I said, my big idea is that the greatest financial and social shifts of the future will be the result of interdependence. In psychology, the cycle of maturity is often defined as dependence, independence, and ultimately interdependence. Could human history be similar? We've seen dependence in monarchy and dictatorship. We've experienced the successes of capitalism and independence. But what might interdependence look like? I recently took part in this public art project here at Harbor East that I think highlights the power of independence. An international artist with an idea, local artists with a skill set and ambition, a significant landowner, art institutions, and forward-thinking business leaders all combined forces to create this powerful installation in one of Baltimore's most prominent neighborhoods. Okay, we're almost done with them. And I would tell you that this project is what interdependence allows us to achieve. And with that, I want to again say thank you to our team with our two photographers, Bonnie and Kristen, and Deborah, who unfortunately is not here. I also want to say thank you to Mike Brenner, who helped set up our website. This is Sunrise Design. Our installation artists with Gaia, Michael Auer, and Robert Ray. And then, of course, the supporters who helped make this happen with Murray O'Doherty, Maryland Art Place, and Gary Beacon. Thank you. I'll also say, if you have questions, we can proceed to Talara and continue the conversation. They do have, I think, some light appetizers for us and are extending happy hour prices for a while. So feel free to join the conversation.
I have something